What if I told you that your greatest obstacle to spiritual awakening might be your own raw sexual energy? That the fire you resist is, in fact, the very alchemy you must learn to dance with? You and I, let's talk about something few dare to speak of openly, and yet almost everyone feels its weight. This is not a moral sermon or a condemnation. It is an invitation into your own inner landscape. We're going to explore the NoFap movement and how its impulses brush up against a much older, deeper map, the tantric path, Kundalini yoga, and the awakening that waits behind desire, not beyond it. Once long ago in a mountain village, there was a blacksmith named Arjun. Every morning, he would strike a glowing, red-hot metal rod on his anvil, hammering it again and again, forcing it into shape. He was strong, and his work was known throughout the land. Yet one day, a traveling sage came by and watched him work. After a while, the sage asked, "Why do you try to bend the rod by force? Why not let its heat guide your hand? Shape it with intelligence?" Arjun paused, sweat beading on his brow. He had always believed force was the only way. It was how he was taught, how he had always succeeded. But the sage's words lingered in the air, long after the sage himself had gone. The next day, Arjun took the glowing rod from the fire. Instead of immediately striking it, he held it for just a moment, feeling the raw heat, the vibration, the life in that metal. And then he began shaping it not by brute strikes, but by allowing the heat, the movement, to guide his hammer. The form emerged almost effortlessly, more beautiful and more true than anything he had ever made before. You see, the sage did not tell Arjun to extinguish the fire. He asked him to feel it, to trust it, to direct it. In modern times, many have embraced the NoFap movement, a decision to abstain from certain behaviors, and sometimes even sexual release altogether. For many, it begins as a challenge of willpower. Can I control this? Can I transcend this primal urge? It's a noble pursuit, born from a desire for clarity, for strength, for a more focused life. Yet in that struggle, a subtle error often creeps in: suppression. We tell ourselves, don't feel it, don't acknowledge it, don't give it energy. We try to build a dam, to lock the door, to pretend the fire isn't there. But in truth, suppression does not destroy. It buries, it twists. It distorts the very energy we're trying to master. What if, instead of a war with your own nature, you were invited to attend to it? To inquire within, to understand its language, to allow it to become a doorway rather than a prison? Let me ask you quietly, when you resist, what are you really resisting? You resist a force that's seeking expression. You resist movement that wants to flow. You resist what might be your own awakening. Underneath the surface of desire is not chaos, but an intelligence waiting to be recognized. In the ancient wisdom of Tantra, the word bindu refers to a point, a drop, the concentrated seed of creative power within us. This is the very essence of our sexual energy, and Kundalini is often described as a coiled, dormant energy at the base of the spine. When awakened, this energy doesn't tear you apart. It lifts you from within, ascending through the subtle channels of your body, mind, and consciousness, eliminating everything along the way. Now, think about what happens when you wage a constant battle against your sexual energy. You may gain some strength, sure. You might feel a certain clarity in the short term, like the quiet after a storm. But somewhere deep down, something remains unresolved, unsettled. That energy waits in the shadows, unexpressed, unsublimated, disowned. It hasn't gone away. It has just gone into hiding. On the other hand, when you engage that same energy with awareness, with a small breath, a moment of pause, and inner listening, it can transmute. It can rise. It becomes fuel for your inner journey, rather than a force tearing you outward into distraction. Picture a river. If you dam it completely, the water becomes stagnant and lifeless. If you let it run wild and untended, it floods the valley, causing chaos and destruction. But if you guide it, if you channel it, deepen its bed, and direct its flow, it can nourish fields, spin mills, and bring life to the entire landscape. Your sexual energy is such a river. The goal isn't to stop it, but to become a wise steward of its incredible power. Can you remember a moment when desire overwhelmed you and you felt completely powerless? Like you were just a passenger in your own body? Now, what if in that moment, instead of resisting with all your might, you simply observed? What if you told yourself, this is energy, not destiny? How different would your inner world feel if you met your own fire with curiosity rather than condemnation? Let me offer you a small experiment, something you can try in your next moment of rising energy. When you feel that surge, that pull, that intensity building inside you, first, just stop. Stop whatever you're doing. Inhale gently, not a deep, forceful breath, but a soft, easy one. Now, sense where the thrust is in your body, the tightness, the surge, the focal point of the energy. Don't pull away from it. Don't push it down. Just be with it for a moment. And then quietly ask, what is this energy guiding me to see? Then exhale, not forcefully, but with a sense of letting go, and imagine that energy melting, softening, transforming into warmth that spreads throughout your body. You might be surprised. Behind the raw urge, you might find a subtle whisper, a message from your deeper being about a need for connection, for creativity, or simply for a moment of true presence. The profound realization here is this: desire is not your enemy, misunderstanding is. When you see your sexual energy as something shameful, dangerous, or to be eradicated, you cut yourself off from one of life's most profound avenues of awakening. You are essentially telling a part of yourself that it is wrong, that it doesn't belong. But when you come to know it not as a temptation to be conquered, but as a teacher to be listened, you begin to turn your shadow into light. This is the heart of tantric alchemy, the ability to let fire purify rather than consume, the ability to let the inner storm grow quiet, and from that stillness, to witness a new sunrise, your own luminous aliveness breaking forth. The NoFap movement, in its pursuit of purity, contains a beautiful seed, a yearning for clarity and self-mastery. But without the inner map, that seed may wither in the ground of repression, instead of growing towards the light of transmutation. What is needed is not denial, but deep alignment. Not a fight, but a dance. So here is your reflection and perhaps your challenge. The next time you feel that surge inwardly, don't fight it. Pause, let it speak. Turn toward its intelligence. Let it reveal not what you must deny, but what you have yet to see within yourself. This is the path from simple abstinence to true spiritual transformation. If this message touched something inside you, consider sharing this invitation not as a rigid doctrine, but as an open question that others may explore for themselves. Return here when you feel more fire, more restlessness. Let's meet in that space where energy becomes alchemy and the seeker becomes the flame. The question is, will you walk that path? Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you found value in this exploration, please like this video and subscribe for more conversations that dive deep. Stay curious.